It might sound like heresy, but after last week's earnings, the idea of an XMAG 7 fund isn't too crazy. Joining us, Sylvia Jablonski is the CEO and Chief Investment Officer at Defiance ETFs. Sylvia, great to have you here. So after, of course, the epic rise of the MAG 7, are you guys taking the other side of it, or is this just a way to omit the companies? Take us through the process and what the fund does.
So what XMAG is, it's essentially the 493 stocks outside of the MAG 7 of the S&P 500. So market cap weighted. You just take those 7 names out, and the thesis behind that is not that MAG 7 is going to crash or that these stocks are no longer the darlings of Wall Street. It's just that, hey, they've run up a lot, right? And the earnings momentum and trajectory is going to start slowing down a little bit on these stocks. And you already have them. If you own the S&P 500, if you own SPY, if you own thematic ETFs, you probably have a huge level of concentration in your portfolio to these stocks. And what we've started to see this year actually is the broadening of performance across the market. And you have names like Palantir, you have names like Berkshire Hathaway, Costco, Eli Lilly, Broadcom, just to name a few, Vistra, Constellation Energy, that are just crushing the S&P 500 and the MAG 7. And so why not just diversify? It's almost like diversification is the hedge after these MAG 7 names have just run up so much.
Okay, so then how does it generally kind of fit in the portfolio? Because to your point, and it's a very important one, you've already got the MAGs in any benchmark equity fund.
Yeah, it's just when you're trying to get into the market and you're trying to increase your exposure to the market or thinking about buying S&P 500 related index funds, why not look at this, right? And you kind of get that extra concentration to the breadth of the market outside of the MAG 7. And this earnings season is kind of playing out to prove that this is probably a really good fund to be in, right? While these names have done quite well and we're kind of getting what we expected in terms of revenues and performance, the outlook seems to be softening on some of them. And of the MAG 7, there's really only 2 or 3, and it was 2 prior to Amazon having decent earnings call. It was really only 2 of them that were outperforming the S&P 500, and that's Meta and Nvidia. Amazon's pretty much in line now, right? And so it's just time, I think, to explore allocating elsewhere.
Okay. And then what kind of do you envision that allocation being in terms of like size? Like obviously part of the beauty of the market cap concentration is it's almost kind of like a destiny where if we believe the market's supposed to do what it's supposed to do, it's supposed to be an efficient discoverer of value. Is this implying that those valuations are too high in those companies?
Yeah, I think it's just implying that. I mean, the index is doing what it's supposed to do. It follows its rules. It's just it's just overweighted to the top 7 names. So I think when a lot of investors want exposure to just the market, and we hear this from clients a lot. We hear like, I just want broad market exposure. If you buy one of the S&P 500 ETFs, you don't really have it, right? I mean, you have exposure to the MAG 7 in theory, and so I think it's just for the investors that aren't in the market right now that probably already have their MAG 7, their S&P 500 exposure. Like this can just be your new trade. It can complement what you already have. We're not saying to get rid of MAG 7. We're saying to, add in S&P minus MAG 7 for some diversification. And there's a lot of reasons for that, right? Rates are coming down. As we've seen this year, like there are different themes that are coming into play, right? Like AI power is one of them. And so you're seeing some of the, like the Vistras, the Constellation Energies, the GEs of the world take over, GLP-1s and healthcare. So you see Lilly rallying and, Broadcom and diversification of other semiconductor companies. I just think it's a smart way to reallocate some of your new funds to a new ETF product.
Will it have a momentum? So there will still be market cap weight outside of it, right? So you're still going to capture momentum from momentum winners the way a typical market might function. I'm trying to think of like what your competing product would be, and I guess maybe one would be like an equal weight. If somebody just said, I could do like an equal weight basket or something of the market, and it will accomplish some of that neutralization of big tech, but not to the extent you are.
Yeah, exactly. So I think equal weight's a great way to do it, but this still allows you to, just to your point, to win with your winners, right? You still want the winners to run up. It's just like let's let the next group kind of play in the game here, and then they're winning. I mean, if you look at kind of start going down the list and you look at the performance of some of these other stocks in the broad-based index, I mean, they are outperforming mega caps. So I always talk about mega caps. You and I talk about mega caps a lot. So still love those names. I think it's just at some point you do do want to diversify and, kind of take a chance to have momentum on these other stocks that are performing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them have got some great secular stories of their own going. We talked Constellation taking a little bit of a hit today, but obviously a huge winner on the year. You mentioned Costco, I think, in there. Eli Lilly, obviously, the health and obesity stuff that's doing great. So it does give some.
It sure is a big one. I mean, there's
another
some
one.
Unique, Palantir is a big. I know they're having their days in the sun and then they pull back, but I mean, I think these names are the future of some of what we're going to see in AI and tech.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is underappreciated, some of these stories compared to the Mag 7. You do got some longs, though, that you like right now. Give us the quick other side of the ledger, Sylvia. Where do you want to put some leverage?
Yeah, I think, depending on perhaps what happens tomorrow, but maybe it doesn't matter since they've both kind of like reverted to the mean on this, but there's a chance that you get some crypto rally off of this, off of a decisive election. So one of the reasons we came out with the MicroStrategy ETF was just that, it tends to move 3 to 6x crypto depending on when you look at it over time. And so if crypto gets a bid, this might just be an ETF that shows some performance. And then, broadening out on the semiconductor trade, we really like Broadcom. We think it's another, kind of top player in the AI space, and it's done quite well. It's talked about a little bit less than NVIDIA, but the performance is certainly there. It is one of those 493 that's outperforming the S&P 500, and so a good place to look if you want to kind of, leverage up the views on that. And then, of course, like I always love the quantum computing and the 6G. Again, this theme of AI and machine learning is not going anywhere, and supercomputing is the future of this actually working and the data being parsed for it to be effective and actually applicable to other industries and stocks. And so those types of thematic plays still matter.
Great stuff. All right, there we go.
Thanks,
and not that the Mag 7 was a short trade, it's a trade of omission, but I like the straight longs too for some ideas. Thank you, Sylvia, as always. Very much appreciate your time. And like the creativity and the fun. Sylvia Jablonski, CEO, Chief Investment Officer at Defiance ETFs.